Communication Employee Training Program, Hazard Communication. Hazard Communications, 4 stages of the program: chemical classifications, labeling and marketing systems, employee training, safety data sheets. Chemical classifications. Chemicals are classified using a harmonized system that provides standardized language for health hazard categories, physical hazard categories, environmental hazard categories. Chemical classifications: health hazards, acute toxicity, skin corrosion/irritation, respiratory and skin sensitization, germ cell mutagen, carcinogen, reproductive toxicity, specific target organ toxicity, single exposure, specific toxic organ toxicity, repeated exposure, specific target organ toxicity, repeated exposure. Aspiration, simple asphyxiant. Chemical classifications: physical hazards, explosives, flammable aerosols, oxidizing gases, gases under pressure, compressed gases, liquefied gases, refrigerated liquefied gases, dissolves gases. Chemical classifications: physical hazards continued. Flammable liquids, flammable solids, self-reactive chemicals, pyrophoric liquids, pyrophoric solid, pyrophoric gases, self-heating chemicals, chemicals which in contact with water emit flammable gases. Chemical classification: physical hazards continue. Oxidizing liquids, oxidizing solid, organic peroxides, corrosive to metals, combustible dust. Hazard communication, labeling and marketing systems. National Fire Protection Association, NFPA, Diamonds. Hazardous Materials Identification System, HMIS, labels. Labeling and marking systems, NFPA, Diamonds. They're color-coded, numerical rating system, are located on hazard chemical containers, provide at-glance hazard information. Labeling and marketing systems, NFPA, Diamonds. Blue equals health, red flammability, yellow equals instability, white special hazard information. Labeling and marketing systems, NFPA, Diamonds. 4 equals deadly hazard, 3 equals severe hazard, 2 equals moderate hazard, 1 equals slight hazard, and 0 equals no hazard. Labeling and marketing systems, HMIS, labels. Designed to go on individual containers of products that don't have manufacturer's labels. Same color code and numerical rating system as the NFPA Diamonds. And this is an example of that label here. Labeling and marking systems, HMIS labels. Blue equals health hazard, red flammability, yellow equals instability, white personal protective equipment or special protection information, numerical rating of 0 to 4. Labeling and marketing systems, HMIS labels. 4 equals severe, 3 equals serious hazard, 2 equals moderate hazard, 1 equals slight hazard, and 0 minimal hazard. And again, this is an example of it here. Labeling and marking systems, HMIS labels. You should never have an unlabeled container in your workplace. And these here show examples of different labels. Hazard communication employee training. Training is required within the first 30 days of employment, whenever a new hazards are introduced, and annually. Hazard communications employee training continued. Training must cover requirements of the regulations, location and availability of these safety data sheets, hazard chemicals used in the workplace, method to detect release, physical and health hazards, measures for personal protection, details and location of the written plan. Global harmonization. Labels are more defined and now require a product identification or identifier, pictogram, harmonized signal word, hazard statement, precautionary statement, name, address, and telephone number. Labels. There are several label elements. Symbols called pictograms, signal words, hazard statements, precautionary statements, product identification, supplier and manufacturer identification. And this is a sample of that. Labels, pictograms. There are 9 pictograms, only 8 are required by OSHA. Health hazards, physical hazards, environmental hazards related to the Department of Environmental Protection. And again, these below here are examples of the pictograms. Labels, pictograms, health hazards. The one on the right there is for acute hazard, severe, and I'm sorry, the one on the left, acute hazard, severe. The one on the right, acute hazard, acute toxicity, less severe, irritant, dermal sensitizer, acute toxicity, harmful, narcotic effects, and respiratory tract irritation. Labels, pictograms, health hazards continued. The pictogram on the left is for skin corrosion, serious eye damage / irritation. And the one on the right is for carcinogen, respiratory sensitizer, reproductive toxicity, target organ toxicity, mutagency, and aspiration hazard. Labels, pictograms, physical hazards. The left label is for explosives, self-reactive, and organic peroxides. The right label is for flammables, self-reactive, pyrophoric, self-heating, emits flammable, and organic peroxides. Labels, pictograms, physical hazards continued. The left diagram is, or pictogram is corrosive to metals. The middle is gases under pressure, and the right is for oxidizers. Label, signal word. There are words used to indicate the severity of the hazard and alert employees to the potential hazard. Only 2 signal words will appear: danger, more severe hazard, or warning, less severe hazard. Not all labels will have a signal word. Some chemicals are not hazardous enough to require a signal word to appear on the label. Labels, hazard statement. There are specific hazard statements that must appear on the label based on the chemical hazard classification. Examples include flammable liquid and vapor, causes skin irritation, may cause cancer. Label, precautionary statement. Precautionary statements describe recommended measures that should be taken to protect against hazard exposures or improper storage or handling of a chemical. Examples include wear respiratory protection, wash with soap and water, store in well-ventilated place. Not necessarily a mandate for employees to follow. Label identification. Product identification, i.e. name of product. Supplier identification, address, telephone number. Label, other information. Other information that may be included on the label. Physical state, color, hazards not otherwise classified, route of exposure, storage and disposal, hazard prevention and emergency response instructions. Label sample. And then just this goes through each of the types. The pictograms are here, the product identifier here, signal word danger here, hazard statement here, supplemental information over here, and supplemental identification. So this gives you examples of all of the different types. Safety data sheets. Safety data sheets, otherwise known as SDS. All safety data sheets have a consistent 16-section format. Employers must ensure that the safety data sheets are readily accessible to employees. So now they're uniform with a 16-section format. Safety data sheets continue. So section 1, identification includes product identifier, manufacturer, distributor, name, address, phone number, emergency phone number, recommended use, restrictions on use. Section 2, hazards identification includes all hazards regarding the chemical required label element. Section 3, composition/information on ingredients includes information on chemical ingredients, trade secret claims. Section 4, first aid measures includes important symptoms, effects, acute, delayed, required treatment. Section 5, firefighting measures lists suitable extinguishing techniques, equipment, chemical hazards from a fire. Section 6, accidental release measures lists emergency procedures, protective equipment, proper method of containment and cleanup. Section 7, handling and storage lists precautions for safe handling and storage, including incompatibilities. Section 8, exposure controls, personal protective equipment or protection lists OSHA permissible exposure limits, PLEs, threshold limit values, TLVs, appropriate engineering controls, and personal protective equipment, PPE. Section 9, physical and chemical properties lists the chemicals' characteristics. Safety data sheets continued. Section 10, stability and reactivity lists chemical stability and possibility of hazard reactions. Section 11, toxicological information include routes of exposure, related symptoms, acute and chronic effects, numerical measures of toxicity. Section 12, ecological information, not regulated by OSHA. Section 13, disposal considerations, again, not regulated by OSHA. Section 14, transport information, not regulated by OSHA. Section 15, regulatory information, not regulated by OSHA. And Section 16, other information including date of preparation of last revision. Sections outside of OSHA, jurisdictions, but these must be included for the GAS compliant SDS. So we have to have them even though they're not regulated by OSHA. Safety data sheets. A chemical inventory list or table of contents is required within the safety data sheet book or file. Safety data sheets must have a safety data sheet for every hazardous substance when used as a part of your job. These safety data sheets must be available the entire time an employee is in the workplace. Employee must be notified of the safety data sheet location. This ends the hazard communication training program.